And that moment, I was not in my physical body, I was consciousness, and I felt peace. So that means that it is not coming from the physical aspect or the physical body that you can put yourself in a state of peace, because it has nothing to do with the physical, because peace is within you.
Start talking to your inner voice. What do you really want? Do you want to believe that everything outside is true? If it's so bad, no, just accept it. But inside me, I won't play that war, because if I accept it, I will die. So I started breathing, started meditating, I started visualizing. And what I visualized was a life that I could live, that I could enjoy, and that I could share.
What is your inner feeling? And he started to just say, oh, I is still holding all my anger and all my resentment and all my everything that I was feeling for what they did to us. And then the person that was more in the state of allowing and being calm and being at peace said to the one that was saying, I will not forgive, I will not let this go, you still in that concentration camp, you
Yeah.
still trapped in the war. So again, like you say, Anna, is like we hold and we um let go that peace, or we just allow the peace within us to just flourish. So it's a decision.
Hello to everybody. Good morning, good evening, good night, wherever you are. We welcome to one more episode in Dying. I Began to Live. My name is Ana Cecilia Gonzalez.
Here, Ingrid Honkala.
And Francisco Valentin.
Well, welcome. Today we have an amazing topic, which is peace begins within you. And this is a very interesting topic because it's really talking about where does real peace come from? Everybody's talking about the peace of mind. We want world peace. We want peace, peace, peace everywhere. But where does it really start? If we really want to see peace from the outside, we want to expand within it, with everywhere, with everybody. Well, let me tell you something. Today we're going to talk about how everything starts within. Everything within, it begins within. So just imagine then that this is just for starters. The way I've seen peace is like a little sparkle, a little sparkle of a divine sparkle within that starts expanding. And there is no way we can see this shining outside if you don't have it within. Like we've said in previous episodes, if you really want to see anything you want to see in the outside, it first has to start within your mind, your soul, your heart. This is no different with peace. So let's start with this. Remember, everything starts within us. This beautiful spark, that it's a divine spark that expands. The only way we can see it outside is when we really start creating it inside. So I'm going to ask now, Ingrid, let's start with you. What do you think about this beautiful topic? Peace begins within you.
Wow, yeah, I love this topic because that's one of the questions we get all the time. How can I do anything? How can I make a change? There's so much in this moment. The world is going through so much hardship. How can I actually do anything? How can I be that spark of light in a world that is in so much turmoil? And with this, there is a beautiful teaching I received one day from the beings of light, and they said to me, because as you know, is this moment in which we're looking out there, we're looking at the news, we're looking at the problems of the world and everything that is happening out there. And they said to me, do not be concerned for what others do, not because you don't care,
There
but
you go.
because you care so much that you correct yourself first. So
There you go.
go is that what you're saying, Anna, is everything is within ourselves. Nothing is out there that we can resolve if there's unrest and that there is no peace within us. I always say, look first. How is your state of inner calmness? How are you at home? How is your peace with your family, with your husband, with your wife, with your brothers, with your sisters? So peace starts there. When people ask me, like, again, like, how can I be an instrument? What can I do? I mean, and people feel completely disempowered, like I can do nothing. And I always say, yeah, you can do nothing, but you can do everything. And I always like to give an analogy, and it is a very powerful analogy. I bring people to imagine a big castle, a huge castle, and the entire castle is in disarray. The entire castle is a mess. And we can compare this with the state of the world. And you can have the beautiful, incredible intention in your heart of wanting to organize this castle. But the moment you desire to organize this castle in one day, in one morning, you already lost the battle. You disempower yourself. So this is the moment when the beings of light explain to me, never think in terms of the collective. If you think in terms of the collective, you disempower yourself. So what do we do? Start little by little, room by room. So now I make the wise decision. Let's start in the kitchen. No, even the kitchen is too much. Let's start maybe the kitchen table is even too much, this corner. And then in that corner, I make something beautiful. And then I invite my friend, my family member, my neighbor, look what I did. And they want to learn, how did you do that? And they want to learn from that. So at that moment, you empower yourself and you start being that light, that spark of light that Anna's mentioning for the world. So let's have that beautiful intention, but let's start from home. This is home, your own body. This is a temple. Start from this home, and from there, from your family home, your neighbor, your city, your country, whatever you can do, expand that, but start with you. So, and I love the sentence that Gandhi, this beautiful saying that came from Gandhi: be the change you want to see in the world. Start with you. What do you think, Francisco?
Yeah, you both are absolutely right. As a matter of fact, uh, let me put it this way: being at peace is a state of mind, and we have said that so many times. It is a matter of you being in that state of mind in which it's not about I don't care, just like Ingrid said. It's not I don't care. It's just allowing the unfolding to take place.
Mm.
uh, there are things that we can change. Of course, we have the ability to see a problem and become uh, intermediaries of that event and make some changes. But there are many others that we have no control. uh, I'm gonna share with you one way in which I personally learn how to deal with it, but this is my way of dealing with it because of the implications or how I understand uh, the physical and the spiritual world. And is that when I feel that I am in a position in which I lost my peace because I would have no control over something, or maybe I want to express how to make changes, and the other person don't make any changes, and people get frustrated because they're not following what the advice that sometimes you give in good faith. I put myself in this position where I tell myself to pretend that I'm dead. To some, it might sound morbid, but to me, it's not, because I already understand what is being dead, what is being on the other side, uh, being in the spiritual realm. So I know what it is, which is nothing more than a change of state of mind. And when I put myself in that position, I pretend. So you don't see it so morbid. You might take it as, if I become a spirit and I am no longer in this earth plane, and I can see the whole thing unfolding and not being able to do anything about it because I am no longer in this physical realm. I began to feel peace within myself, knowing that the unfolding is taking place. The thing is that we get frustrated when, for example, uh, World War, um, all the negative things that are happening on Earth, all the all the bad things that we understand that they are totally wrong, and we want to make a fix, and we can't fix them. Then we enter in frustration and we lose our peace. And that's something that I learned to work with in my particular way. I mean, you can find your own ways to to put yourself in that situation where you know that no matter what happens, the unfolding is taking place. And once you put yourself in that state of mind, you're going to start feeling peace within yourself. Oh, I have a lot more to say, but I want to give Anna Cecilia, to give her a chance to bring that subject, or go deeper into that, because peace is something that have many ramifications. It's not
Yes, yes.
one. Go ahead.
That's right. Going forward a little bit with what you're saying is like uh, the question we all ask. I mean, and you've asked us this: how can you find peace in war? How can you find peace in sickness? How can you find peace in lacking? Like where you really, well, my daughter's dying. There's a big war out there. I don't have anything to eat. I don't have this all this, like Francisco was saying and Ingrid was saying, this is peace of mind. How can you find that in there in this moment where everything's anxiety? And Francisco said something very interesting when he said, you lose your peace. And I would add to this, do we really lose it or do we let it go? It's like, is anybody taking it away from us, or are we the ones letting it go because we get engaged in that what's happening to us? We accept it as our reality instead of going within and say, wait, is this really what the world is about, or am I letting this control my inner peace? And I'm telling you this because when I was, I mean, being born with my heart condition and being told since I was a very, very little girl that I was going to die, and I understood this when I was almost 8 years old, that I acknowledged, okay, you're going to die. You're not going to live forever like you think at that age everybody will live. How can you be with peace? How can a parent find peace within? Well, one of the first things that I can advise or that I could give as a recommendation is acceptance. Accept that things are there and they're happening. And the first thing I had to accept is that I was born with a very serious heart condition and that was not going anywhere because I decided not to accept it. No, okay, it is there. Now, how am I going to cope with it? That was an absolute inner decision. So, what helped me, first of all, is accepting it And then knowing that this is a word that, I mean, a little quote that I really like. The inner peace is a vibration that starts expanding. So the first thing that I had to do is, okay, I am going to die. All right, accept it. You have a condition, but I have the decision to live whatever life I have extra, to live it intensively the best way I can, or spend the rest of my life just uh, whining about my problems. What am I going to decide? And there's where it all began. So without even knowing how I did it, but I did it, and back then there was not no knowledge of what we all know about breathing, about meditating, about all these topics that we constantly talk. Well, one of the first thing was for me, accept it. This is what's happening. Breathe deeply and take the best out of it, make the best out of it, and expand the life you do have right now. So, whatever you do with what you have, that's nobody's choice but yours. So, when Francisco said that, well, you lose it, okay, yes, we lose it, but because we give it out, because we resign to our inner peace, because we get engaged with the outside information. And the outside information is usually bad news. It's usually the newspaper. It's usually the war really happening out there. The sickness that's really happening in your body. But you are not your body. You are not that sickness. You are not that war. You are much more than that. And if we can create our inner peace in spite of the war, in spite of the sickness, in spite of the problems, of the lacking that the world is letting us know, then you really are starting to understand what inner peace means. So, this expansion that I'm talking to you about started with me with breathing and with doing my inner meditation of, I want to live as much as possible. So starting to meditate and breathing, when I was lacking so much oxygen, I had no option but to start looking inside. Okay, Ana Cecilia, breathe. Breathe and get peace, but only to survive. Not because I wanted to do a lot of playing and I just needed to breathe, but I didn't know that was a method that really saved my life. So I'm going to start with this because I'm going to go on telling you more about it. But breathe. Start talking to your inner voice. What do you really want? Do you want to believe that everything outside is true? If it's so bad, no, just accept it. But inside me, I won't play that war because if I accept it, I will die. So I started breathing, started meditating, I started visualizing. And what I visualized was a life that I could live, that I could enjoy, and that I could share. So this belief inside me started to expand. This little spark that I was telling you at the beginning, spark of divine, started expanding. And I started believing that I was alive, that I could breathe. And suddenly my body started changing from blue because of lack of oxygen, started to change into pink. And then I felt stronger. And I went out to play, probably just for a little while. But I understood that whatever I believed inside me was a way to expand it and could be represented in the outside. So, this is the last thing I'm saying in this participation. Visualize, believe it, and then create it. And this is what has happened in my life. So, what do you
Wow.
think about that, Ingrid?
Yes, again, be the peace you want to see in the
Exactly.
world. And I love when you mention this the spark of divine. Be that a spark of light. Like I love that symbol of holding one candle, and one candle would turn somebody else's candle, and somebody and somebody until it reaches hundreds,
Yes.
thousands of candles. So everything starts here. So be that spark of light you want to see in the world. And Anna, I love your story because you are the embodiment of that. You could be completely defeated, you could be just already saying it's done. And so I love when you mention adversity. How can I have peace in the middle of all this adversity? How can I have peace in the middle of sickness?
Yes.
And you are the embodiment of that. You're the representation of that. Look, you are a survivor of, you should not even be alive. And look at you, you're here. And you
Enjoying you, friends.
exactly, and you decided that peace. And I love when you say this, like, it's your choice to give it away. The peace will always be there because it's just about any moment, like you said, you breathe, you calm your mind, and it's there. It's just
Yeah.
at any moment we have an opportunity every second of our life to go back to it. And that's the beautiful thing, and that's how merciful the universe is. That each moment of our life we can make the choice to go back to it, to calm the noise, the mental noise. Because it's like I said to people, how can you experience peace if you are in in a mental discotheque with so much noise all the time that you
Yeah.
cannot go to that state? So it's start learning to be calm, to be at peace. And this is the other thing, like, and I love when you and Francisco talk about how peace is a decision. There's this beautiful story of a man that was a prisoner of war. I think it was during in one of the concentration camps. And then this person, of course, they went through a lot of suffering, a lot of hardship. Then, yeah, that was hard times. But years had passed. I don't know, 30, 40 years, a lot of years had passed. And these prisoners of war, there was two friends that had been in the concentration camps, and they, after many years, they met again. There was a reunion and they met. And through all the years, one of the friends asked the other, it says, oh, how do you feel about those days? What is your inner feeling? And he started to just say, oh, I is still holding all my anger and all my resentment and all my everything that I was feeling for what they did to us. And then the person that was more in the state of allowing and being calm and being at peace said to the one that was saying, I will not forgive, I will not let this go, you still in that concentration camp, you
Yeah.
still trapped in the war. So again, like you say, Anna, is like we hold and we um let go that peace, or we just allow the peace within us to just flourish. So it's a decision to open ourselves to that inner peace. And there was a beautiful vision I got one time, and in this vision I see a being of light standing next to a beautiful calm lake. And the lake is so peaceful, it's so calm, that I just don't want this peace to be disturbed. And then the being of light is holding a rock, and his in his face is just this look of like, I'm going to toss this rock in the water. And my feeling is like, please do not cause any disturbance in the water, because I don't want this piece to be disturbed. And then the being of light suddenly grabbed the rock and toss it in the water. And when the rock touches the water, to my amazement, it did not create any disturbance. It did not create any ripple whatsoever. And at that moment, I was shocked because it was not what I expected. And it's when the being of light said to me, this is the way someday you have to learn to be. that no matter the size of the rock, there will not be a disturbance. So that was incredible how this rock touched the water and went through without any disturbance. But the teaching came even more profound because he said it doesn't mean that the water doesn't feel the rock. Yes, we can feel what is happening, but the important thing is that it doesn't shake us to the point that we lose our peace. So that teaching was so incredibly important because is how can we through practice reach that place of not being disturbed by the world. And that's when the beings of light said to me, why do you think that the humans are made of 70% of water? Learn to keep your inner water calm. Learn to be in that place of calmness and peace, even if it's just meant one breath, one conscious breath. Because again, is in the breath, is in the mastery that we gain through learning to open ourselves to that inner peace. And I love one of the teachings of Jesus. He's one of the teachers that came to this world to bring the message of love and peace. And I love when he said, my peace I bring you, my peace I leave you. So what about we just take that message and start living from that inner place of peace? Yeah.
Yes, indeed, indeed. With that, let me continue where Ingrid started. Uh, by giving you another aspect of peace, uh, so you can understand why we keep saying that peace starts within you. And I'm living proof of that when I died in a car accident in 1979 when I found myself in the void.
Mm.
And as I found myself in the void, I began to be surrounded by what I might call spirits of light or spiritual beings that brought me that peace. That peace that is hard to explain because it goes beyond the peace that we understand that is here on earth. And that moment, I was not in my physical body. I was consciousness and I felt peace. So that means that it is not coming from the physical aspect or the physical body that you can put yourself in a state of peace because it has nothing to do with the physical because peace is within you. And that's how I learn and experience firsthand what truly peace is something within you. And as I found that peace and understood that peace, you also can find it because you have never been gone. It's just that you get out of focus. And even if it's still within you, you don't see it because many people get overwhelmed. For example, I can speak of myself right now. I'm going through hardship, hard times because I have so many things on my plate that they rob me out of my peace. And I need to make an effort because it's not something that you say, oh, I need peace. Please, God, give me peace. No, no, that's something that you have to work within yourself. You have to find peace. And that's what I've been doing lately. Whenever I feel overwhelmed, I just put myself on idle. I close my eyes, go into meditation mode, try not to. I do close the door of those thoughts that keep coming into my mind. I just close the door. I put a lock. I do not let any outside noise or thoughts to get into my mind. and I look into entering this state of peace because it is within me. It is me that have to find it. I need to fine tune to be able. It's like a music. It's, I mean, with all this noise, imagine being all this noise around you, or let's say that you have all the songs and all the speaking of a radio all at once, and you start fine tuning into that space where there's no sound, and then you find a quiet place, and then you begin to go into rest mode, and that's how you start finding your peace. That is another aspect of peace, because there are many other aspects of how to find peace, but to really understand that peace is within yourself is by understanding that you have a physical body, but your soul is just embodied into this physical body. And once you find yourself within your own self, then you start looking for that peace, find that peace, and finish. Peace is not something that you can find and it's going to be permanent, because you have also a physical body and you have things to do out there. So you cannot be in meditation mode all the time. But knowing that you have that peace within yourself, and as long as you keep that fine tuning into being able to do the daily things that you have to do, deal with all the many things that you have to be dealing with, and seeing things that you know that will rob you of your peace, just keep that fine tuning, and you can work within your daily life with that tune. And when you find that moment of peace, of tranquility, of solitude, refocus in that peace. Little by little, you'll get it, and it's gonna get to the point in which it's gonna be easier for you to find that peace. In my case, particular case, when I feel overwhelmed, I even myself said, "Wow, I need to get into this place that I need to be at peace." And when I enter in that peace, I go in, and sometimes it is hard to get out of that because I just want to stay there for as long as I can. But that's the beauty, because once you master it, you know how when to get in and when to get out to do your daily things. So, having said that, what do you think, Ana Cecilia?
I love it, Francisco. I love it because you're right. I mean, it's sometimes we just need like to lower the volume of the outside. It's like the radio. You need to tune it in. Like, wait, I don't want to hear that noise. But you have to make the effort is precisely to getting into that tune. And sometimes you have to get up and move it. And this reminds me of something we've always, and we've mentioned it several times because of our different conversation, is that nothing happens to me but for me. And when we really understand that, okay, that's a lot of noise. And it's really about to, I mean, I'm about to let my piece go because I'm hearing all this. But then when you go into that little place and you start to tune in and say, wait, why is this happening? This is a question I've always asked myself. And this is something I really recommend because going within with outside noise, it's difficult because then you connect with the news, you connect with the sickness, you connect with the problems, with the lacking or with whatever. But when you start making your own noise, which is asking sometimes question, and then you say, why is this happening to me? Okay, what for more than why? What for this? There must be a purpose. Otherwise, this wouldn't be happening. If I don't have something to learn, it wouldn't happen. Do we all agree that there's nothing that would ever happen to us if there was not a very deep reason? And this is where you start digging for your tuning and finding your own answers. Okay, if this is going on, like I said, first accept it. It is there. It's already there. Denying it won't make it better. But yes, coping with it in the best tuning I have. and then understanding that this is happening for me. So that inner peace that Francisco's talking about, when it takes time, yes, it is not something that you just start working with it and it will very easily appear. No, it's practice. Everything that's really good in your life, it's about that really gets better is with practice. But that peace arises when your soul is able to align with meaning. Why is this happening? What for is this happening to me? So there gets the meaning when your voice, your mission, and your love all point to the same direction. When everything gets to a reason, where and when you find a purpose in your life, because you know it would be a waste of time just thinking that there's someone, like if we were puppets, just somebody really wants to give me a hard time right now. No, no, no. There's not such thing. And if you feel the victim of this, you're not going to find this inner peace fast. So, first of all, just take out all this noise that Francisco was talking about. And this real peace arises when your soul is really aligned with the meaning of this. There is a purpose in everything. And one of the biggest purposes is to learn, to expand, to get to be able to cope with this, what Ingrid was telling us, in the middle of war, in the middle of a concentration camp. How can you find peace? Well, there's people that have shown us that there is a way when your soul aligns, when your inner voice, when your voice, your mission, and all of your love is pointing into the same direction. Where do we want to go with this? That is where your decision is so important, and where nobody can take away from you something that's yours. Not nobody. Only if you give it up. So that inner peace, which is sometimes difficult to tune in, difficult to find, is there. Francisco said it very clear. And Ingrid did too. It's always been there. It's us. It's our mission to find it. And sometimes, Francisco mentioned it, Ingrid mentioned it, is sometimes we need to be silent. Silence, breathing, and let go. Let go of what? Of what doesn't do good to me. And if you know that just watching the news, sometimes you know that just listening to your neighbor, listening to your own family, it becomes toxic in that moment. Let go. And like Francis, I loved it. Close the door. Sometimes we need to do that. We need to close the door, be wise enough to know what's harming us. And there's nothing wrong to sometimes say, I now need some time to myself. Yesterday, I was watching this movie with my husband with Heaven. Heaven does exist. Heaven is for real. When this pastor says, the wife was asking him question, and he says, right now, I just need some time to myself. And I love that when he went to a chapel and he started even getting angry at God. But sometimes you need that space even to say what you're feeling. That's the only way you can tune in to that inner peace and find, okay, this is happening for me. And once you really, like I was saying, get out of that victim mode, get into your connecting with your purpose, align with your soul. If this is happening, there is something I need to learn, and I will if I really listen. In Take time, take this time away from whatever you need to get away from. It only takes some minutes, and then maybe you will start with what I were calling meditation, with what we call conscious conscious breathing, and really getting to understand that there is nothing, absolutely nothing, that is happening to you. It is happening for you. Find that purpose. Find that direction that your soul's taking you. And sometimes it's going to be difficult. But if you see a path full of stones, and the only thing you see is stones, instead of looking at a way that with those stones, with those rocks, you can create a beautiful road, a beautiful bridge, a beautiful path, then you're going to know that there was a reason for that rock in the middle of your path. There's a purpose. So, what do you think about this, Ingrid?
I absolutely, absolutely love it because once again and again, we're conveying peace comes with understanding. But
There
the
you go.
only way to reach that place of understanding, asking, is when we ask ourselves, what is this for? What is the purpose of it? But we cannot reach that place to even understand or ask. And we, both of you and all of us, are mentioning this if we do not find that space of silence, if we don't create the space for it. So, and like we keep all of us mentioning it, that peace, the peace in itself is already there. Again, just pause and is there. And in my near that experience, from the very moment, from the time I was just a little child, and I am not saying even that I was already, because in the other experiences, in the all my NDs, I went back to that piece. But even when I was a little child, a child that was having fun, that was playing with her sisters, when I died, I entered into that place of absolute peace. And then is written there the word silence. And what did I found that was incredibly amazing? Silence. But that was that silence that was so incredibly peaceful that I call it the silence behind the silence. But the funny part is that after that, I spent my whole life looking for that silence outside. And I would hide in chapels, under the beds, in the closet, looking for that silence, thinking it was outside. And it took me many, many years to realize it's not something outside, it's inside ourselves. So again, you already, both of you already mentioned it. How is the way to get there? And there's so many different ways to get there. Just finding that pause through prayer, through meditation, through being in nature, to even like and Francisco said, is there's a lot going on. Maybe even if you're in your house and you need a space and everybody is being too much, go to the bathroom. I need a moment. And then you just go and you breathe and you just offer yourself. This is a gift that you give to yourself and at the end to everybody that is around you. That space, that peace. When you go into that place of silence, you touch your inner wisdom because you're now being able to access the place where the answers are. And you stop being reactive and you start being responsive. You know, the beings of light always said to me, wisdom comes from the place of silence. And talking about practices and meditation, I one of the practices I like to share, I call it pause, learning to pause wherever we are. And then I have an acronym for that that is really beautiful. And it starts with, of course, the letter P, which is already invoking peace. And this letter P is the P of presence. Just learn to be present. And then in the moment that we give ourselves that possibility to be present, and when we're talking about presence, we're talking about the place of beingness. Just give yourself a moment of just be. And then I remember with this that when I had what I call a big awakening and I was still working for like NASA, I was surrounded by all these scientists, all these people that always keeping the mind really busy, really active. And sometimes it was hard to find peace there. And then I remember when I asked the being so light, what should I do or say to these people? And the answer was incredible. It was do or say nothing. The light of your awareness is all they need. Be that presence, be that peace. Then it comes after that in this pause acronym, the A, which is the A of allowing. And Francisco and Anna mentioned it. Allowing means to be aligned with what is happening in the present moment. Allow what is happening in the present moment. Stop the resistance. When you're resisting, the piece is gone. The moment that you just create a space, how you allow, you say, can I create a space for this? Can I be with this? Can I open myself to the understanding of this moment? Then at that moment, you create amplitude. You allow the space. Then it comes the U of union. When you understand, when you allow, you start feeling the state of connection, state of the you of understanding, understanding, union, spaciousness, integration. So at that moment, you open yourself to clarity. Then it comes the S of serenity. You finally enter into this place of serenity, silence, when you can find answers, and this bring you to expansion. When you have understanding, silence, calmness, what happened? You expand. You now you can see the big picture, and you have access to answers. So this is a really, really beautiful practice. Just learn to pause. I think that's the key to go back to that piece.
Beautiful, beautiful.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that with the audience. And that brings me to, how about if we practice some peace by putting ourselves in that stage where Ingrid wanted us to follow. So let's do this. Let me get my time to help uh,
Oh, yeah,
the audience to practice how to
Great.
be at
yeah.
peace. So
I
let's
like
do
that.
this. Everybody, close your eyes. I'm starting with myself because when I close my eyes, I get away from the physical world for that moment when I find myself within myself, outside of the physical world. And as you close your eyes, uh, find that place within you where you start detaching from the senses. For instance, we already detach ourselves from the sense of sight so we can enter into our own world. Now, once we understand that by closing our eyes, we got disconnected from the physical world, let's disconnect ourselves from the physical senses, where you start, your physical body start fading away from your senses, and find yourself in this white room full of walls from all directions, but those walls has no boundaries, and you are right in the middle of that white environment of your own creation. And as you find in that place, put your mind at ease and do not allow any outside noise or any outside thought to get into your mind by just closing the door. That same door that allows all those thoughts to get inside of you, shut it closed, put a lock, do whatever your imagination wants to do with that so you can stop the access to those thoughts from entering your mind, and find yourself excluded from the outside world, excluded from outside thoughts, excluded from outside noise, and find that peace that is always been there within yourself. And it is just that you have not been paying attention for listening to the outside noise, for opening that door that right now we are shutting closed and are within ourselves in that moment where you can feel what peace feels like. And you can stay there for as long as you want. But because time is limited, we're just practicing. And if you take this video podcast and you watch it again and you put this section on, and when you find yourself in this stage of mind or no outside noise comes in and you are in total peace, you can put your mind into any type of imagination that you want. You can find yourself in the woods. I like to find myself in the void, but each person has their own preference. Allow that preference to manifest because the idea is for you to be at peace, to be detached, to find yourself within yourself and be truly who you are. You are a being of light. You are consciousness. You are spirit. You are oneness. And I leave you with that.
Ay, qué paz. It's so peaceful.
Wow, wow, it's so peaceful, Francisco. Well, it is a beautiful, beautiful way to start wrapping up. And I think there's not a lot more that we can say, but I want to share this last little message. The peace, this true peace that Francisco just let us, is contagious. Once it lives in you, it touches everyone you meet. So Ingrid said it, be the peace you want to see. And this true peace is definitely contagious. So if we are this, just imagine how many people we can touch, just like Francisca just touched all of us with this beautiful little meditation. So
Oh,
I think we're going to be wrapping up with this. And Francisco, I would love for you to invite everybody like you always do.
So let's close this session today, not without first telling you or pleading for you to share this video and the many others that we already have posted with everyone that you feel that you know that might benefit from this. Take special care of this one in that section where we can help you practice your meditation and to be at peace, and share it with everyone. We are on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and soon I will be giving you that space for you to have a conversation with me through WhatsApp. So keep signing in, keep sharing, keep subscribing, and let's keep this movement uh, by sharing it with everyone and keep supporting us. That's my plea. So please, am I missing anything else? If not, we can close it up.
Yes, Francisco, thank you. Thank you, Ingrid. Thank you very much, everybody, for being here. Remember, next week we'll have our podcast in Spanish. And just be waiting for it because we have amazing topics. Keep asking your questions. We'll be there. We'll answer everything one at a time, but we will be answering everything. Thank you very much.
Thank you,
Thank
and
you.
be the peace you
Talk to
want
you
to
all.
see in the world.
Be the peace. Okay. Thank you. Bye
Thank you.
bye.
Until next time.
Until next time.
Bye.
Bye.